I recently watched Mark Cuban say in an interview, if you're using credit cards, you don't want to be rich. Did you know that Gen Z has the largest percentage of maxed out credit cards for all of the different generations, according to the New York Federal Reserve? Yeah, you're going to need good credit to be able to, buy a house and buy a car and probably get an apartment in the future. But should you get a credit card? That's the question. Um, Credit cards are like fire. They can be a useful tool or they can burn your ass. So, why do you want a credit card? You really need to think about it. If it's just to take your girl out on a date, that's not a good reason to have a credit card. If it's to go buy new clothes, or somebody told you, gave you the good advice of you should be able to have a gas card, you can pay it out at the end of the month. That's not a good enough reason to have a credit card at 18 years old. Emergencies. Some people say, what if you have an emergency? You should have a credit card. Maybe, but I'm going to contend that the only reason why you should use credit is to make more money. Period. So, credit. What is credit? Credit means credibility. It is simply a score that tells other creditors whether or not they can believe you and when you say that you can pay them back plus interest. But remember, these guys are not your friends. They're in it to make a profit off of you. And they know that Gen Z being 18 to, 25 years old is the easiest mark because you weren't taught about money in school. You weren't taught how to budget. You weren't taught how to do any of that stuff. So it's just so easy to rack it up and think it's free money, and then they're going to screw you when the bill is due. I was 18 years old, and my senior year in high school, and I got a credit card from Sears, and it was like $500. This is in the mid 90s, 1994, I believe. And we decided, my buddy and I were going to go to Sears and check out what they had to offer. And him and I were both into playing pool a lot. So we bought a pool stick, a couple pool sticks, and my car wasn't working very well right at that time. So I bought a mountain bike so I could get to work, and bought a lock for it. All of that at Sears, all on the credit card, and I think at that time it cost me probably $250 or so, somewhere on there. And the next day I went to uh, go lock up the bike at work, and the bus was leaving with all the kids because I worked at the YMCA and I was taking care of the kids as a counselor. And the bus was leaving and the lock wasn't working. So I just wrapped it up, making it look like it was locked. And this is a brand new mountain bike. I mean, still shiny, black tires, all the whole deal. It was beautiful. But anyway, we take off for the whole day, come back, and of course the bike is gone. And man, it felt like somebody punched me in the gut. So, I went back to Sears and tried to contest that it was their lock that would work, and, that I needed a new bike. And of course, they didn't give a crap. But I still needed a new bike. So I decided, you know what, I'll be able to pay this off with my meager $7 an hour job at the time or something. No big deal. I'll just, work a few extra shifts or whatever, and I can pay it off. And of course, I bought another bike, and so now I'm maxed out. I was maxed out at $500, and that was fine for the first few weeks. No big deal, no pressure, whatever. Then the bill came in with the interest, and you make a couple payments, and you see that the principal balance barely goes down, and then the phone calls started. Then the harassment started. Then your credit's ruined. It's just so easy now. Of course, I was super stupid, but that happens to all of us. I see students at their local colleges or universities on these field days or whatever, and they'll have all these credit card companies have their tents up there with free T-shirts. So is it worth a free T-shirt for you to have the risk to be able to have a credit card because somebody told you that it would be great for your credit score, because someday down the road you'll be able to buy a house or buy a car or whatever. No, it's not worth it. Not at 18, 20, 23%. That's ridiculous. Okay, so how can you make money without using a credit card or a line of credit or any of that stuff as a young guy? So you have a work ethic, you're ready to go, rock and roll. Let's say you sell a $2,000 fence job, and you could use a credit card to go buy the materials first, and then to pay your guy for 2 or 3 days worth of work, and then the homeowner would pay you the $2,000, and you're going to pocket the profit after you pay off your credit card and after you pay your guy off, right? That's one way to do it. Or you would have him, the homeowner, prepay for everything, have him pay for all of the materials up front, have them delivered on the job site, and then you and your buddy would go do the job. And then at the end, you would split the profits. Pretty simple. One way that an old neighbor of mine who had a wedding catering business, he used to do things. So he did all the marketing up front. He pre-sold packages for wedding venues, for wedding rentals. So the business was simple. The bride and groom would come in, and they would have like 3 different packages of renting tablecloths and silverware and tables and chairs and what kind of food and all that stuff. So the business was putting it all together, and he rented it out to people. But he didn't start that way. How he started was being able to just start off with like linens and the basics, and he would go to the bride and groom and he would say, here's 3 packages for you to pick, and let's say it's a $10,000, a $20,000, a $30,000 packet. And so they pick a $20,000, and he would ask for 25-30% up front, and they would write out the check, give it to him, and then he would use that money to go buy the materials, and then him and his wife would go and do the wedding and then collect at the end. So it's the same thing as the fence job. It's just you're having the customer pay up front by doing pre-sales and then purchasing the materials, and then you're providing all the labor and the time, and you get paid at the end. That's how you make money without using credit card, line of credit, any of that stuff. I want to thank you for hanging out with me and listening to my rant on credit cards for Gen Z. Now, if you also want to learn how to flip a house 0 down, check out my next video.